Good afternoon, everybody, on this frosty Sunday, uh, February 6th, 2022. And I want to talk to you today about movement and getting started. Those of us that are older and overweight, exercise seems a little bit daunting, and also going out into a public place like a gym can be kind of intimidating. So the importance of movement is really, I mean, it can't be understated. We have to admit that even though we don't like it, we do need to exercise or in some way move our bodies every day. Last week I told you that, I'm all about coffee, naps, and books, right? And I really don't like to exercise. In fact, I dislike exercise. But if I'm going to be successful in my weight loss and if I'm going to be strong and healthy, to be able to play with any future grandchildren, I better move a little bit every day. Walking, of course, is the easiest thing for all of us to do. And I do walk around my neighborhood, and I enjoy it. And it's a great way for us as a community to run into everybody and spend some quick time together. And of course, the vitamin D that you get when you're walking outside is really necessary for our bodies because it helps with balance. People who fall oftentimes have a vitamin D deficiency. So there's a lot of important health factors that we get, or benefits, I should say, from vitamin D. But let's be real. Building exercise into your daily habit is tough if you don't like to do it. So, what I have discovered that's kind of working for me as of a few weeks, my January 1 reset, two things. First of all, I've gone to my rec center. We have a fabulous rec center here with a walking track. So when it's been too cold, I've just walked around the track and it's been awesome. And it's an open track with the gym below. So when kids are practicing basketball or a game is going on, there's just an energy, right, that comes from being with children that is good for the soul. So I do enjoy that. And I've kind of allowed myself to graduate to the treadmill, which is a little bit more of a deliberate workout and setting the timer and, setting the pace of the treadmill. So I didn't start on the treadmill. Treadmills sound very easy to some people, but for those of us who are maybe older and overweight, we have to start a little one level down. So I did my walking track. Well, the other thing I realized too, my husband, God love him, he's a great guy and he's very fit. He walks our neighbor's dog like 3 miles a day. And I just wave from the door, have fun. But what he started doing in November was a yoga class at our rec center on, I think he goes on Mondays and Fridays. So I went with him on a Friday in January, and I was the biggest person in the room, and it was okay because the teacher was very charitable and kind and low key, and everybody just got their mat and did their thing. Not a lot of interaction, and then everybody left. And it was an hour-long class. Truth be told, while I'm in there, the class was from 5 to 6, and I'm looking at the clock. Nobody else is looking at the clock, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's only 5:20. I have 40 more minutes of this. This is hell. And then I looked at the clock again and it was 5:40, 5:45, finally 10 of 6. And I thought, oh, good, we got 10 more minutes of this. And the class went 5 minutes over. So I did 65 minutes of yoga. And I did what I could, right? And she was clearly watching me because a couple times she gave some instructions. Now make sure your hands are palm up. And so I'm like, well, she's talking to me because my hands were palm down. But anyway, I'm glad I did it. And the next day, my abs were really sore. We did a lot of core work. But what I realized was I also didn't have knee pain right after the class and when I left. So I thought, okay, or when I woke up the next day. So I thought there's something to this yoga stuff where basically think about it as a total body stretch. So I really didn't want to go back to a full hour of it. I didn't think I was ready to do that yet. So just like how I started on the walking track at the rec center and worked my way up to the treadmill, I decided to do some yoga at home and work my way back into that class, which was actually pretty nice. I joke that I just couldn't wait for it to be over, and that's true. But I'm also glad I did it. I really did feel better for a few days. So what I did was I got on YouTube and I found a couple. What was my search? Beginner yoga for women over 50. Let me tell you, folks, men and women can do this, and there are so many little videos from all kinds of people for folks like us. It was really awesome. So I am so new to all this, but I'm gonna try to link like something below where you can find it. But I'm looking at my laptop because one that I really loved was a 10-day routine, 10 minutes a day in the morning. And it was by a woman named NZ Donna. And she's on this like four-season room, and there's snow outside, and her voice was very calm and her instructions were very easy to follow. And the other one that I tried, which was actually a little too easy for me. Wow, how about that? But it's really a great place to start. And it was called Yoga or Gentle Yoga for Bigger Bodies. And it was by Yoga with Zelinda. And she talked through, what I liked about this one is that if you have no idea what the yoga poses are, because I will say, when I was in that class and they said warrior one and warrior two, I had to look at the guy in front of me. I was totally lost. So what I liked about Gentle Yoga for Bigger Bodies is that she thoroughly explained the stretch and the position. And wasn't so focused on the name of the pose or the stretch, but actually telling you how to do it. And if you're doing it wrong, she'd say, like, make sure that you're not, that you're pushing your spine down to the floor. And I found that really helpful. Now, that video was about 25 minutes long, but a lot of it was watch first and then do it. So you're actually stretching for probably half of that. But it was such a great video because it was so non-threatening, so loving, and the person doing it is a big girl, and she was doing it really well. And so I think we need to look to other women and men, if you're a man watching this, but we need to look to other people to inspire us and to support us, right? And we're called to support each other, for goodness sakes. I saw a quote that I really liked, and it said, empowered women empower other women. So I believe that that truly is important, that we learn from and support each other. In fact, when I finish this video, I'm going to run down the street. There's this little candy shop that I didn't even know about in this office park around the corner from me. And it's open from 11 to 2 today, selling little Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, candies and cookies. And I have two people in mind at work that I'm going to give a little gift to. So I'm not going to eat the candy or the cookies, but I'm going to buy it as a gift to support a local woman who has this little business. So we just need to look for ways to support in genuine ways other people, right? She's providing a service, and I'm interested in sampling her product. Now, I wanted to talk just a little bit about happiness. So the coffee naps and books part today is a book. It's actually, and I'm going to read it from my laptop. I got this from Father Jack Wayman, of my parish priest, a few years back, and he shared it with me. And I don't have the original publication source, but I have the quote, and it's by Thomas Merton, who was a contemplative monk, and it talks about happiness. And last week I talked about happiness as being the underlying motivator for everything you do. I kind of think about happiness as the fuel to allow us to stretch ourselves, to grow, to get up in the morning and get rolling and keep motivated. We cannot motivate ourselves through the should-haves, would-haves, could-haves, right? Or pull yourself up from the bootstrap and let's go. If we have an underlying mindset of joy and happiness, things will be easier to do. And so I'm going to share this quote with you. Those of you that like myself, do not like exercise. This is a little nudge to get you. What I invite you to do today is just commit to 10 minutes of some sort of movement, even if it's just walking up and down your stairs in your house if it's cold out. But, and if you're not ready to go to your rec center, I get that too. What I found though, when I started doing that, is that you don't need courage necessarily to go in there because nobody's going to judge you. They're going to welcome you. Employees are at your local fitness center or local rec center, which is a bargain, I'm sure. They're there to support and welcome people, and they're not going to judge you. And guess what? You're going to find that there's other people like you there that have different levels of fitness. It's not just for the real buff people. So, but if you're not ready to do that, try yoga at home or gentle stretches at home. But let's think about happiness first and foremost. What are those things that bring you joy? And don't wait for your body or your whatever, your nutrition to get to where you think it should be. Here's some wise words from Thomas Merton. And here's the passage. It says, in one of his journal quotes, Thomas Merton writes that we are always thinking that our life will be happy when we are not satisfied with what is currently our situation because we have it in our mind that our life won't be happy until something else occurs. When I have one more thing I want, when I get rid of this personality flaw of mine, when I can finally have life as I've always dreamed it to be, when I'm truly successful, when I learn to pray better, when I find the right person in my life. When. Waiting for the when keeps me from appreciating what I have now. Longing for promises and dreaming dreams is not a harmful deed as long as the present moment is not overlooked. As long as gratitude rises for what is already here. As long as I do not base my happiness on what is still wanting. Thankfulness for what has already been given is the foundation for hoping for what is not yet. Today, I am going to put aside my when this happens and my if only this could be and my when things get better and my soon as I have this. I'm going to harvest what I have, gather all the many gifts that are already mine. I am going to observe what has been placed in the granary of my heart and marvel at the abundance. I will stand before this heap of blessings and take a long, grateful look. I will say farewell to my when and be thankful for what is. Isn't that beautiful? And that's by Thomas Merton, who actually lived in a monastery in Kentucky. So another thing about happiness that I wanted to just kind of close with today is self-care. And self-care for me is a new concept. Believe it or not, I didn't really embrace it until about a year ago when I started, taking care of my skin and things like that. And I think part of it is because of my my upbringing and my faith. My parents were fabulous people who both grew up during the Depression. My mom was born in 33, so she doesn't remember a whole lot about it, but we always lived kind of from a point of scarcity and conservation of what we have, which was a pretty good strategy during the Depression, I might add. But what I realized is that I transferred this to my whole life. And so self care became just staying on the down low. And so I wouldn't like spend something on myself or spend time on myself in a way that might use a product or whatever. And I realize that that's kind of foolish because since I've been taking care of myself, I'm more joyful. I'm happier. So self-care to me is another one of those starting points that's helping me to move along this continuum of growth. And something else that a friend of mine, her name is Anne, and she said, we actually were on this meeting for this organization that we're on the board of, and she said, humility is accepting the gifts God gave you and using those gifts and sharing those gifts with others. And I really liked that because sometimes we think of humility as a form of self-denial or self-depreciation, and that's not at all. Humility is also the gateway to holiness. It's how we grow closer to God. So I love that. I'm so grateful that this week I've moved further in my journey through the advice of my very wonderful friend Anne, who gave me a new way to frame humility. Isn't this great? How we can support and nourish each other on this journey of life. It's fabulous, and I'm so grateful to her. And I was ready at that moment to hear that message. So I've kind of taken that this week and reflected on it. My self-care today was I did this little hair mask, and I it really helps to smooth out my hair. My hair is a beast, and it's thick, and that's a gift, right? I'm counting that abundance and blessing, but it also needed a little taming. So I did this hair mask, and I did these little hydrogel eye patches that nourished my eyes and kind of minimized the wrinkles. So it was just a really nice leisurely time for me to start my day. The hydrogels take about 20 minutes to do their magic, and so it's just a nice time to sit and do a little reading or whatever. So I actually talked to a friend on the phone during that time. But so to sum it up, because I feel like I'm beginning to ramble, um, my shared message for you today is happiness is key, and joy. Happiness and joy are shaped by attitude. You choose happiness, and happiness is the fuel for the vehicle that you're riding in on life. If you want a self-improvement, if you want self-growth, start by finding happiness right in front of you, like Thomas Merton told us. So fuel your tank with joy and happiness. Move your body at whatever level you can. If it's 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes more than you wouldn't have done otherwise. So choose happiness, move with intention, and share joy with someone else. We all have something of value to contribute. So support a small business, give a friend a little nugget of advice, or better yet, call a friend and ask if she wants to take a walk. Wow. If the weather permits. So I just thank you for watching today. I don't know where all this is going to lead, and I'm going to try to post some comments below. And next Sunday, I'm going to share a couple recipes that I've tried that are fueling my body. And what I have found is after I have these more healthy meals, gosh, I feel so good. I'm satisfied, and I'm not sluggish and lethargic. Yeah, there is something to this nutrition. So, next week, I'm going to focus on sharing a few recipes that I've tried, and I am not a gourmet cook. So, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Have a blessed week, everybody. And of course, next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. Yay! So, I'll be sporting my Bengals gear again. God bless everybody and seek joy.